Hello, Galion Tiger fans. I am Kyle Bond, your high school athletic director. I am joined by communications liaison Chris Stone. We have invited everyone here tonight to help answer questions about the upcoming fall extracurricular seasons. In particular, information for tickets, fan attendance, athletic eligibility, and safety precautions this year. Please send in any questions you have through the chat box during tonight's presentation. I will do my best to answer everything that comes up. Athletics are a part of the extracurricular educational process of Galion City Schools, serving as an arena for learning. We strive to have each student athlete enjoy a positive experience while developing competitive teams. Within this framework, the participation of all student athletes is encouraged without compromising that competitive nature. They will learn to appreciate teamwork and how to deal with coaches, referees, opponents, peers, and themselves. Interscholastic athletics are an extension of the classroom that provide teaching and learning experiences for all involved. These experiences and lessons relate as much to life and education as they do to the outcome on the scoreboard. Our mission is to foster the quest for excellence by creating an educational and competitive experience within an atmosphere of sportsmanship. Galion Athletics develop individual and team potential by prompting high standards of competence, character, civility, and citizenship. So the first question that I have for tonight, can people get tickets this year? Great news, Tiger fans. We are not being restricted for attendance at this point. So we are selling tickets to everyone who want to cheer for our Tigers. We will run normal gates and really look forward to welcoming all our Tiger fans back to the action. I do not anticipate being forced to limit our crowds at this point. All varsity events will be $7 for adults and $5 for students or senior citizens. Admission for all the middle school games and all the standalone freshman and JV games is $5 per ticket, regardless of age. We are going to honor those MOAC lifetime passes, season passes, and senior citizen passes this year. We are in the process of partnering with Hometown Ticketing to allow fans to pre-buy tickets for events. But we will still continue to sell the traditional tickets at all of our gates. If you want to save some money, season passes will be available for sale beginning next Friday, August 13th, through the high school athletic office. I will send out more specific information next week on how you can purchase those. The following passes will be available. An adult all-sport pass is $125. A student all-sport pass is $50. A family pass, which includes 2 adults and 2 students, is $325. These passes get you into all the middle school and high school home games except for MOAC League Championships and then, of course, our state playoff events. I will share again additional ordering information next week as we finalize the links with Hometown Ticketing. Senior citizen passes from previous years are still valid. Senior citizen passes are available at the board office for any senior 62 years and older who lives in the Galion City School District. Do we have to wear masks? That's probably the most common question that we're all getting asked and all wondering this year. COVID-19 hasn't went away, unfortunately, but as of today, masks are not required. We will still ask everyone to spread out as much as possible and wash your hands. The CDC does recommend anyone not vaccinated or with medical concerns take extra precautions, which could include masking up. We continue to ask everyone to be symptom-free before coming to any of our events. Please stay home if you are sick. As we did last year, please understand that mandates may change and we may have to adjust. I am also happy to announce that WMFD is going to live stream our varsity football and volleyball games again this year. It will be a little different than last year as WMFD is going to remove the paywall, and that live stream will be free of charge to those Tiger fans that can't get to the game or don't feel comfortable being at those games. Unfortunately, we do not have the capability to video every single game, every single level. That will be varsity only, and maybe some special events throughout the year. Will we have programs this year? Yes. Craig Allgaier with Photorama is taking team photos for our high school teams and will offer the traditional Memory Mate packages. A1 Printing will produce the programs for again this year, and the fall programs will be sold by the Booster Club at the concession stands. Are we running ads this year? Yes, all athletic advertising options are available again this year. If any businesses would like to get an ad in the program or sponsor an ad banner, please call the high school athletic office and we can get you that information. That particular info was mailed out to every business in the Galion area, but if you didn't get one and need one, please call and let us know. Individuals and families can also be a part of our athletic patrons page in the program for a $20 donation. Just email me or call the athletic office to help support our kids. Can we have student sections this year? Yes, and I'm so happy to bring our kids back to the games. We are currently not being limited for attendance, so we are excited to welcome our student sections back to the games. Will the cheerleaders and marching band be allowed at the away games? Most certainly. We are going to travel our Tiger marching band and our cheerleaders. They'll be at all of our home games like they were last year, and then they will also be at those away events. And hopefully even Rory can make an appearance or two along the way. Do students have to be eligible to play? Because of COVID-19 last year, the Ohio High School Athletic Association removed credit year. So basically what that means to all of our Tiger athletes, all of our students are eligible to start the year, as long as they meet resident requirements and enrollment requirements. And then we will return back to the normal OHSAA rules at the end of the first grading period. So athletes must have a minimum of 5 one-credit courses. So it's important for our students, do not drop classes without checking with the guidance department. And most of the time, if you schedule right and are able not to have any failing grades, you're going to be eligible. Athletes must also comply with all OHSAA, Galion, and individual sports regulations and rules. When in doubt, ask a school administrator. Each individual team will or has already had a parent meeting to address more sport-specific questions. You can always reach out to your head coach, parents, especially if your student joined late, missed that meeting. Please get with your coach to find out if there's specific things that their team rules or progressions need. Eligibility-wise, probably the most important thing for all of our athletes are 2 big questions we ask. Are you enrolled at Galion? And do you live in the Galion City School District? If you do those 2 things, you are our player. Answering no to either one of those questions doesn't mean you aren't our player and you can't play, but it is going to require some extra paperwork that I will file with the Ohio High School Athletic Association. So if you've answered no to either one of those questions, you aren't enrolled in Galion, or you do not live in our school district, then make sure that you contact me so I can get the paperwork so that you could possibly play for us. The OHSAA website and our Galion Athletic page are great resources for answers to most questions. Please check those out at your convenience. Parents and athletes, please be willing to talk to your head coach privately when you have questions or concerns, not just about eligibility. Go to them first, and then I'm also a resource for you as well. So back to some COVID questions. What happens if someone tests positive for COVID-19? Positive COVID tests do continue to require a quarantine following the health department guidelines. The athletic quarantine is 10 days and also requires completing the return to play COVID protocols. John Vitello is our Avita sponsored trainer. We're grateful to have Avita as a sponsor, and we're also grateful to have John as our trainer. He will guide an athlete who tests positive through the COVID-19 return safely to action protocols and help them out. This process is very similar to returning from an injury like a concussion. The health and safety of our athletes is always our top priority. Please communicate with John and your coach for any illness or injury, whether it's COVID related or not. The faster we take action, the sooner our athlete can return to play. Contact tracing, we had quite a bit of that last year. That may be used to determine if anyone else must be quarantined, but as we're finding out, those stipulations are kind of changing a little bit day to day. But one thing is still key. For contact tracing, you have to be within 6 feet for 15 minutes or more of someone who tests positive. That's really that critical measurement for someone that's going to get contact traced. We did learn a lot last year about minimizing the risk. Beyond proud of our coaches, players, community for helping us get through a very challenging year and had a lot of success doing that. But as we've learned, the biggest area of concern for our athletes continue to be locker rooms. That's probably our number one. We encourage our kids to spread out when they can and eliminate the unnecessary congregating in the locker rooms. Bad things tend to happen in there anyway, so get dressed and get out and then get to practice and get moving. Transportation is the second area. We do have a mask mandate for all of our buses. That is a federal mandate, so we will continue to spread out and all of our teams will mask up on the buses. That would also provide 2-barrier protection again, if you remember that saying from last year, that would eliminate any contact tracing for our athletes on a bus. So that helps them. Water. Athletes should always bring water to practice or games, just like last year. We do have water available for refills, stuff like that, but we really want our athletes not to share food or drinks with other people. And, the last thing, be smart at home. Minimize the risk of exposure. We're certainly not telling you to live. We're certainly not telling you to have a good time and be with your family, etc. But just, anything you can do to minimize the risk of exposure would certainly help our teams not have players out this year. This has been a hot topic as of late. Is the COVID vaccine required? No. We are not required to get the vaccine. The CDC and the governor's office are highly recommending the vaccine, but our athletes are not being forced to do that. We believe, and I think this will continue, that it's really a decision for each family to discuss and make that decision together. So I'm not going to tell you to do it or not to do it. That's up to you. Do your research and make your decision that fits you. I do want to let everyone know that as of today, those people that do decide to get the vaccine, those athletes would be immune to contact tracing at this point. So if I've had the vaccine and I do get in a contact trace situation, I would be immune to that. So that's just one side thing to let you know about. What restrictions do fans have at events? We do have to follow safety guidelines as directed by the Ohio Department of Health. We've adjusted our game day protocols from last year. Those attending any event, we're asking you to perform a self-assessment prior to the arrival. If you have symptoms, just stay home. It's like we said before. If you have symptoms, possibly have COVID, flu, something else, please stay home and not risk contaminating our players. Those not vaccinated are encouraged to wear face coverings. Families are also encouraged to social distance as much as possible. Proper hand washing is still the most effective way to combat the spread of sickness. Public announcements will be made this year, just reminding you to help everyone adhere to the new guidelines. Please note that not all away venues will use our exact same guidelines. We learned that quite a bit last year. Teams and fans must adjust to what the away venue is asking of us. Are we offering youth athletics? Yes, we are. We're happy to say they're all back in full swing, so please talk to your sport-specific coach to get the details. What about concessions? The Galion Booster Club will offer full concessions again this year. And we're going to keep that same traffic flow pattern that we used last year, one way. We think that just helps clean up some congestion and things like that. So we will continue that one-way traffic pattern at the stadium and in the high school. Mr. Stone, do we have some other questions that have been coming in while I've been talking?
Mr. Bond, the only question that we received was, what's the update on the soccer field?
Soccer field is in great shape. The grass is ready to go. We'd like to thank Mike Dover with Front and Center Turf. The irrigation system that was put in has worked wonderfully. The grass is ready to go. We will play our first game on that field. Mr. Dean in the maintenance department is working on the bleachers now. We should have bleachers up, grass ready to play for our first game. Now, because of all the challenges that COVID-19 has brought for getting product and ordering things, we do have some back order situations. We're not sure that the building that we will house, as a ticket entrance and then also equipment, do not know when that will be ready to roll, but that shouldn't affect our kids. And also the scoreboard is on back order. We have some steel beams that we're trying to get put in the ground, and then the actual scoreboard has two pieces on back order. So it looks like the actual scoreboard won't be complete till sometime in September. So we're going to look at using the same travel scoreboard that we've used before, and we'll make it work. So plan on the first game being on the game field. Excited to do that. I'd like to give a special thank you to our superintendent, Jen Allerding, for really making that project finish up. Superintendent Jim Grubb started it as they along with the bus garage project, and then Mrs. Allerding finished that with some help from our maintenance department. It really is going to be great for our kids, so we're excited to get on the soccer field.
And those are the only questions that we have.
All right, I got a couple other things just to remind people of. Final Forms is huge. So all of our athletes, spread the word. If you want to do a sport at Galion, get on Final Forms and sign up there. All athletes and parents must sign all those forms required for Ohio High School Athletic Association. All those papers are there. And once you click on your sport and go through that process, you won't have to do that again. One thing I would point out to you, if you sign up for sports one at a time, you'll have to re-sign those papers. We found that out last year in our first full year using final forms. So what I mean by like that, if I'm a football player and all I've signed up for at this point is football, and I decide to sign up for basketball a month from now, I have to re-sign that stuff to get it to go green. Not the worst thing in the world, but if you know you're going to do 3 sports, go ahead and click them all right away. If you're undecided, go ahead and click 2 sports in the spring, because what that does is that puts you on our coach's roster, and then they know you're interested. So they'll contact you with off-season opportunities. And then also, there's no penalty if you decide not to play. It gives us a chance to know who's considering playing. I would also remind you that all athletes do need to get a physical every year. COVID has really shut down our free physicals, but being an Avita school, they do offer a discounted physical. You could talk to Trainer John to help you with that if you need that, or you can still go to Rapid Response. You can still go to your other doctor as well to get that physical. If you download that paper from Final Forms, all that information automatically carries over from last year and really saves you a lot of time filling out paperwork. We continue to have a year-round athletic code and random drug testing program. So one of our major concerns as we've looked at some data, vapes, marijuana, and alcohol are major concerns for us. Not just here in Galion, but all over the state and all over the country, to be quite honest. They are not safe, and using them hurts our athletic performance. A single Juul pod contains as much nicotine as a pack of 20 regular cigarettes. I think, unfortunately, parents, we have been fooled into thinking some of these pods are safe and not that big a deal. The concentration of those things is very high, very addictive, and is starting to cause a lot of issues, especially in the lung area when they breathe that stuff in. Marijuana is known to increase the heart rate while decreasing cardiac stroke volume. This not only puts the athlete at risk, but also diminishes peak performance. Smoking any substance is harmful to your lungs and can reduce the effectiveness of the body's ability to absorb the oxygen needed for optimum sports performance. Obviously at Galion, we try to compete at a high level. We don't need these things not only for the safety of our kids, but just for performance ability as well. We don't want our youngsters to do things that's going to hurt their opportunity to perform at a high level. Marijuana use can also slow reaction time and hurt hand-eye coordination. These effects can last 24 to 36 hours after smoking. According to a recent survey done in Crawford County, 94% of the county students who admitted to being drinkers are involved in extracurricular activities. Please think about that for a minute, parents. Middle school and high school students in the county were anonymously surveyed. So we had hundreds of students surveyed, and out of those students who admitted that they had been intoxicated drinking alcohol, 94% of that group are in our extracurricular activities. I think sometimes as parents we have a false sense of security that our youngsters with a good crowd in a team sport, those are all things very important, whether it's marching band, art club, football, golf, or what have you. But 94% of the kids that are admitting that they drink are in those groups. So I think we really need to continue to talk to our students, because unfortunately alcohol use with our students is still a problem. I know we talk a lot about vapes because we're trying to get kids to quit doing those, but don't forget about marijuana, alcohol as well. Every time an athlete gets intoxicated, science tells us they lose 14 days of training. It's knocking them back 14 days of practice time for that one night of intoxication. When an athlete gets intoxicated, their performance potential is lowered by 11.4% before they even start the game. So if your athlete is drinking alcohol, the best they can be during their next competition is 88.6%. That's if they don't have anything else going on that might hurt their performance. So help us help them perform better. Fan, athlete, and parent behavior matters. Good sportsmanship is something that we pride ourselves with at Galion. Please pause before you yell or make that negative comment. Respect the game and help us model Tiger pride. Social media can also really cause our teams unnecessary grief. Please represent our school and community with Tiger pride. Cheer for our kids and leave the officials, coaches, and opposing teams alone. Galion High School is an award of excellence school. We are committed to the ideals of education-based athletics. Participation in extracurricular activities is a privilege, not a right. Tiger fans, please remember that together we will get through all the additional challenges this year, regardless of the activity. It may not be business as usual. We must all continue to sacrifice individual wants and desires to best serve our kids. We look forward to another fantastic year. Thank you for joining us tonight, and go Tigers.